the country has decided to abolish all entry rules as of June 1st for international travelers. You no longer have any excuse not to visit Italy, as the country has got rid of all COVID entry rules and vaccine requirements. In this video, I'm going to break down all the new entry rules or lack thereof and what it means for you, the tourist, as you plan your ultimate vacation to Europe and here to Italy. Italy has been gradually easing its restrictions back from the darkest days of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, which is great news for a country that's dependent upon tourism. From Rome up to Milan, from Siena all the way up to Venice, the numbers have been trending in a good way. The 7-day average of infection rates continues to fall. We're at 334 cases per million, which is the lowest rate since mid-December before the Omicron variant took hold, but it's still much higher than at this time last year in 2021. Oh, the bells are ringing, and that's a good thing. And perhaps the most important number we can look at is the hospitalization rate, because the numbers are going down. Here, heading into June, we recorded 370 cases, admissions into the hospital. You compare that to 2 months ago at the end of March, and that's half the number. What about the COVID entry rules for Italy? Well, it's great news. Before I get into that, stick around, because later on in this video, I'm going to explain all the mask rules you need to be aware of when you're here in Italy. But the country has decided to abolish all entry rules as of June 1st for international travelers. Before that, all the unvaccinated travelers had to show a negative coronavirus test to get into this country, but that all ends on May 31st. The Italian health ministry decided not to renew that mandate, ending 2 years of struggle and stress for tourists trying to get in their favorite country for pasta and wine. Cold brew. So what are the rules for coming into Italy? Well, previously you had to be vaccinated to enter the country, and if you didn't have a vaccination, you had to have a negative coronavirus test, or you had to have proof of recovery from coronavirus within the last 6 months. The rules? Well, basically now there are no rules. That means you're free to enter the country regardless of a vaccination. You don't have to worry about a negative coronavirus test, so pack your bags. Italy has basically eliminated the need to think about a vaccination pass or your CDC card or a negative coronavirus test before coming to this beautiful country. Now you no longer have to stress about your vaccination card validity, whether or not it's been updated from the last 9 months, if you have the booster or not. Though I would recommend, if you're traveling to Europe, if you're traveling to Italy, make sure you have the jab, make sure you have the COVID vaccine, and if it's been over 9 months, get that booster and get a second booster if it's been 6 to 8 months. Coronavirus is no joke. Italy already gave its tourism a jump start months ago by allowing the non-vaccinated passengers into its country. But even still, you had to think about the test you needed, whether or not it was a PCR test or a rapid test, if you needed it 72 hours or 48 hours before you arrived, or if that time was before you departed from the airport. And they were expensive too. I think I paid about $200 at the San Francisco airport for my COVID test before flying back to Italy this Christmas break. And even as of recently, as May 1st, Italy dropped a passenger locator form, that dreaded passenger locator form where you had to fill out all the countries you've been to recently and the places you'd be staying in Italy when you arrived, who you voted for in the last 2 elections, and your income over the last 5 years. Well, maybe not those last 2 parts, but still, it was a dreaded and complicated form. Ciao, grazie. So you may be asking, do I need to worry about my vaccination card at all? Well, the days of thinking about your vaccination card, traveling over to Italy and into Europe are pretty much over. You won't need it in many places. In fact, you probably won't need it at all once you're here in Europe. You may need it at the airports, at international airports like in the United States, but check before you travel. Also, if you're planning on visiting other European countries, when you're over here, check with the rules for that country as well. Be prepared and check in advance. But sincerely, the days of worrying about vaccination cards and testing, green passes, and even super green passes are over. Even back on May 1st, the Italian government already got rid of the restriction to show your vaccination card, your vaccination pass, when entering restaurants, when entering museums, and even on public transportation. Now you may only need to show your vaccination card when you go to a hospital or nursing home here in Italy. If you have any doubts, I'll put the link to the Italian Health Ministry's website in English down in the description below. Also, feel free to drop any questions or comments down in the comments section. Are you planning on visiting Italy soon? Let me know. Or have you been here, and what have been your experiences? I try to get to all your questions and comments as soon as possible, and I appreciate your help in building the community. So is it back to the days of 2019 like it was before? Yes, pretty much, but you still will need to have your mask with you when you're going to and from the airport, because Italy requires masks on all public transportation. Despite dropping the mask mandate across the country on May 1st, it did extend the mask mandate for public transportation until June 15th, so make sure you have it with you. And Italy and Spain are one of the few countries here in Europe that still require a mask on flights, because the European Union got rid of that rule on May 15th. For flights, you no longer need a mask, but in Spain and Italy that mandate still exists, and here in Italy until June 15th. The other places where you'll need a mask in Italy are indoor sporting venues, theaters, and hospitals. And that applies to anyone ages 6 and up. But don't worry, in Italy you hardly need your mask at all anymore. And that applies to restaurants, museums, almost anywhere you go, you don't need your mask. And in fact, I hardly have my mask with me at all anymore unless I plan on traveling. David's up from Rome to visit Florence for the day. You give me a like and subscribe?
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm doing it now.
He said I'm sick, and I think sick means good, right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, in
Thanks,
a good way.
David. See you.
Bye.
What do you need to be aware of? What's next for Italy? Well, first of all, if you're enjoying all these videos, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you want to support me and help the community grow here, consider giving us super thanks. It'd be much appreciated. And if you aren't yet subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe button. In the coming days, I'll also be releasing a video. Now, in the coming days, I'll also be releasing a video on my top 10 Italy travel tips. So if you're planning on coming over to Italy, you'll want to check that out. What's next? June 15th is the date you want to watch out for as a tourist, because on June 15th, that could be the day that Italy drops the mask requirements for flights, and then it'll truly be like it was back in 2019 and beforehand. If you want to see another video on European travel tips, well, check this video out.